Asked my parents if I could stay a few days. They said, sure, if you sleep on the floor with the dogs and pay rent. My sister thought it was hilarious. She lives there for free. So I sent her a video. Guess who's crying now? I hadn't been back in years. Not since I left with a garbage bag and a lie stuck to my name. But when Mom texted, of course honey, just bring a blanket, I thought maybe this time would be different. It wasn't. The house looked exactly the same. Beige walls. Fading photos. That weird lemon pine smell that clung to everything like guilt. Mom opened the door with a too big smile. You made it. Like I just popped by to drop off muffins. She didn't ask how I'd been. Didn't offer to take my bag. Just turned and walked. I followed. Past the stairs. Upstairs where Ines lived like royalty. I could hear her laugh echoing down. Hers and her husband's. They got the second floor. All of it. Me. Mom led me toward the back of the house. Past the laundry. Past the drafty side door. She stopped at a room I hadn't seen in years. She opened it like she was unveiling a luxury suite. Here we are. It was the mudroom. There was a rolled-up sleeping bag on the floor. One sad pillow. The family dog, Buster, already laying claim to the rug. You'll be in here, she said brightly. Buster doesn't bite. I blinked. You're serious? You've got your own space, she said like a hostage negotiator. Then Dad popped his head in holding a mug. £60 a night. That's with the family discount. I stared at him. You're charging me to sleep on the floor? It's just for a few nights, he shrugged. We all pitch in around here. Sure. Except for Ines, who hadn't pitched in since 2009. From upstairs, footsteps. Then Ines appeared at the top of the stairs, full glam in her faux casual workout set. She took one look at me standing in the dog room and let out a bark of laughter. Oh my God, she grinned. You're putting her with the dog? She's got loads of room, Mom said. Buster loves company, Dad added. Ines leaned over the banister, practically glowing. This is gold. Remember how you used to pretend to be a vet? Full circle. I didn't laugh. I just reached into my pocket. Ines, I said. Can you check your phone? She blinked. What? I sent you something. Just now. She rolled her eyes like she was expecting a snarky meme. She tapped once. Then twice. And then she stopped moving. The shift was instant. Her face drained. She went from smug to silent in 2 seconds. What is this? She asked, her voice flat. Mom frowned. Sweetheart. Ines didn't answer. She backed away a little, staring at the screen like it had teeth. You're a freak, she whispered at me. You're seriously sick. Dad stepped in. What did she send you? Ines clutched her phone like it might explode. Her hands were shaking. Mom reached for it. Let me see. No. Ines snapped, yanking it back. Her husband had appeared behind her now, frowning. What's going on? I stayed quiet. Mom's tone sharpened. Ines, what is it? Ines pointed at me like that would explain everything. She edited it. It's fake. She made it look real. Dad stepped forward. Made what look real? You don't get to do this, Ines hissed. You're insane. So I said nothing. Because I didn't need to explain. Not yet. The room had gone still. Even Buster stopped chewing his toy. Ines, I said finally, my voice steady. Do you want to tell them or should I? He looked around. Her husband. Our parents. Me. Everyone's staring. Waiting. She didn't answer. Not yet. And I didn't press. Because I was standing in a dog room next to a mop bucket with a £60 nightly rate. And she was about to lose everything. But that was just the beginning. When people say a single moment can change your whole life, I used to think they were being dramatic. Now I know better. Mine came when I was 17. 2 weeks after I'd come back from a school trip I'd spent 2 years saving for. I worked part-time after school, skipped lunches, said no to every movie night, just so I could go hiking in Scotland with 5 other nerds and 2 underpaid science teachers. It was the first thing I'd ever done entirely for myself. And it cost me everything. The day I got back, the necklace was gone. Some heirloom thing. Gold. Tiny. Probably not even that valuable, but it had belonged to our great-grandmother or something equally dramatic. Mom called it the one thing that connects us to our roots. Which for the record was nonsense. Our roots were middle-class suburbia and whatever was on sale at the garden center. but it was missing. And 3 guesses who they blamed. Mom came into my room holding the empty jewelry box like it was a murder weapon. Where is it? I blinked. Where's what? Don't play dumb, she said. You were the only one not here. I was in the Highlands. Exactly. Dad was behind her, arms crossed like a backup bouncer. Ines stood in the hallway chewing gum and watching like it was Netflix. She took it, Ines said flatly. I didn't. I looked at her. What? I saw you take it. Before your trip. I just didn't say anything. I stared at her. You're lying. Don't call your sister a liar, Mom snapped. I'm not lying. Ines said, suddenly emotional. I saw her put it in her bag. I thought maybe she was just borrowing it. But now it's gone. I laughed. Actually laughed. It was the only thing that came out. You think I stole it? I paid for that trip with my own money. I worked for 2 years. Then why won't you tell us who you sold it to? Dad barked. Because I didn't sell it. Where's the money then? Mom demanded. I spent it. On buses and tents and powdered soup. Did you think it was a 5-star resort? But it didn't matter. Ines had pointed her finger. And they had already decided. 2 days later I came home to find my backpack dumped out and my drawers ransacked. Mom said they were looking for clues. Dad said I was lucky they didn't involve the police. Then they did. They actually filed a police report. I sat in a station for 3 hours while a man with a notepad asked me how long I'd been struggling with temptation. Eventually the charges were dropped. No proof. No pawn shop receipts. No CCTV footage of me peddling heirlooms to shady dealers. But I was still guilty. At least in their eyes. The worst part. It wasn't just my parents. Word spread like wildfire. Family friends stopped inviting me over. My cousins stopped texting. One of my aunts actually blocked me on Facebook. I got uninvited from a family wedding. After I'd bought the dress. And through it all Ines just watched. She didn't gloat. She didn't apologize. She just moved into my role like it had always been hers. I moved out the day I turned 18. Mom handed me an envelope with £20 and a note that said, "We hope you find your way." No hug. No goodbye. Just silence and the sound of Ines laughing in the next room. I found a tiny room in a shared flat and got a job in retail. I ate cereal for dinner. I cried into my coat sleeve in break rooms. I had panic attacks in public bathrooms because I didn't know how to fix my life. And still for years I believed it had all been a mistake. That if I could just clear my name, if I could prove I hadn't taken the necklace, they'd apologize. Take me back. See me. And then last winter I saw the listing. It was almost a joke at first. I was scrolling an online secondhand marketplace looking for cheap furniture. And there was. The necklace. The exact one. Same scratch on the clasp. Same dent in the corner of the pendant. I'd stared at that thing enough growing up to know it like the back of my hand. The seller used a fake name. The pictures were cropped. The listing said family piece open to offers. My hands shook as I took a screenshot. Then I called a friend. 2 weeks later I was sitting outside a cafe on the edge of town, wearing a blonde wig and pretending to read a menu. Inside at the counter my friend Molly was the buyer. She wore a wire. Another friend, Levi, sat nearby pretending to work on his laptop. Camera in his sleeve. Backup battery pack in his hoodie. I didn't want revenge. I wanted proof. And I got it. Ines showed up in sunglasses and a hoodie like she was auditioning for a bad spy movie. She slid into the seat and pulled out a small box. The necklace was inside. Molly asked where it came from. Ines said it was a gift from an ex. Then asked for cash. Every second was recorded. The date. The time. The audio. I watched from the car, hands clenched so tight I left nail marks on my palms. After she left, we had everything. I made backup copies. I called the police. And then I waited. For the right moment. So when my parents said I could stay for a few days, I said yes. I packed a bag. I walked into that house for the first time in years. And they showed me the floor. With the dog. £60 a night. My sister laughed. And I handed her the truth. My sister's hand was still frozen mid-air, clutching her phone like it had turned to ice. Her face. Not so smug anymore. Ines? Mom said again, a little sharper this time. What is it? Ines didn't answer. Her husband was now standing beside her, trying to peek over her shoulder. She turned away fast, blocking the screen like a teenager hiding text from a teacher. Ines. Dad's voice was firm. What's going on? She still didn't say a word. So I did. She knows, I said slowly. They all will. Very soon. Mom looked at me like I'd just threatened to blow up the house. What's that supposed to mean? I didn't answer. I just stood there in my 60 quid a night corner, next to the dog bowls and mop bucket, waiting. Ines was starting to panic now, eyes darting around, mouth opening then closing again. Then she made a mistake. He tried to lie. She faked it, she said, lifting her head. It's fake. She made a video. It's all edited, deep fake or AI or something. Her husband frowned. What video? She's trying to ruin me, Ines snapped, turning to him. She's obsessed. That was Rich. Ines, I said calmly. Should I explain it? Or would you like to do it yourself? Mom turned to me, fully alarmed now. Anya, what is this about? What video? She knows exactly what it's about. Enough. Dad barked. Someone tell me what's going on. Now. Ines was still gripping the phone like it might save her. But she was out of rope. And the silence told everyone what her words wouldn't. Her husband stepped forward. Ines, he said quietly. What did she send you? She shook her head. It's nothing. He looked at her. And something must have clicked. Because he held out his hand. She didn't move. Let me see it, he said again. When she didn't, he pulled the phone out of her grip. Not roughly. Just decisively. Like a man who suddenly realized he's been living with a stranger. He looked at the screen. Watched. Listened. And then he went very still. Jesus Christ, he muttered. Ines? Mom's voice cracked. What's on the phone? Her husband turned it toward them and hit play. The sound came on, Ines's voice, casual, confident. It was a gift from an ex. The room went dead. The dog whined softly. Everyone heard it. The footage. The voice. The why. Even with the cropped camera angle and hoodie, there was no denying who it was. My sister. Trying to sell the necklace she swore I stole. The necklace that ruined my life. The necklace I got kicked out over. I stayed quiet. Just stood there letting it sink in. And then Mom said, barely above a whisper, tell me that's not what I think it is. Ines looked at the ground. I don't remember. It was years ago. Maybe I did take it, but it was... Oh my God, Mom said. Her face had gone pale. Dad looked stunned. Like someone had pulled the rug out from under his brain. You said you saw her take it, he said slowly. You said you saw it with your own eyes. Ines didn't answer. Mom turned to me now. Anya, is this real? I met her eyes. I had 3 witnesses. It's recorded from 2 different angles. Audio backed up. I also filed a police report, by the way. You can expect a call soon. That was when Ines started crying. I was just a kid, she shouted. I didn't think you'd get kicked out. You told them you saw me steal it, I said. You watched them tear my life apart. I didn't mean for it to go that far. But it did. The room went quiet again. Mom was shaking her head like she couldn't process it. No. No, this isn't. It's not what it looks like. It's exactly what it looks like, I said. Dad sat down heavily on a chair like someone had punched the air out of him. We filed a report, he whispered. We went to the police. You told everyone I was a thief, I said. You made sure I left this house with nothing. Ines was sobbing now, mascara streaking down her cheeks. I'm sorry, okay? I was 16. I panicked. You were always so perfect and I just... Don't, I said sharply. Don't make this about me being too perfect. You lied. And you let that lie sit for years while I lived in a cupboard and sold old textbooks to survive. Her husband looked at her like he'd never seen her before. You let her take the blame for something you did? I didn't think anyone would believe her, she cried. It was just supposed to go away. And right there it hit me. She didn't think anyone would believe me. Not because the lie was convincing, but because it didn't matter. Because in this house, her word would always carry more weight than mine. Even when it was garbage. No one said anything for a long time. Then Mom cleared her throat. This should have been handled privately. That made me laugh. Actually laugh. Privately? You mean like how you privately went to the police? Privately told every relative I was a thief. Privately made sure I couldn't show my face at a family wedding. Anya, this isn't the way, she said firmly. No, I said. It's not. But it's the only way anyone ever believed me. Dad was staring at the floor. Ines was still crying. Her husband stepped back like the gravity of it all had finally landed on him. I can't believe this, he muttered. I can't believe you did this to your own sister. He looked at me. I'm so sorry. I nodded once. And that was it. I looked at all of them. My parents. My sister. The hallway I used to tiptoe down. The staircase I wasn't allowed to climb anymore. I had imagined this moment for years. Dreamed about it. But it didn't feel like victory. It felt like something else. Something quieter. I turned to go. Paused at the doorway. Oh, and Mom. She looked up startled. Thanks for the room. But I think I'll sleep somewhere that doesn't come with a chew toy and a rental fee. Then I stepped outside. No dramatic exit. Just the cold air on my face. And the weight of the lie finally lifted. I didn't hear from any of them for 3 days. Not a text. Not a call. Not even a, please delete the video before the police see it. Just silence. It should have felt good. It didn't. I'd imagined that moment. Me walking out, truth in hand, their faces crumbling, for years. Thought it would fix something. Thought it would undo all the years of being invisible. It didn't. Because 3 days later, when I finally did hear from them, it wasn't an apology. It was a guilt trip. Message from Mom. We're very upset with how you handled things. We could have worked this out privately. No need to involve the police. Ines was just a child when it happened. She was 16. I was 17. But sure, let's play the she was just a kid card. You weren't saying that when you filed a report and had me dragged into a police station. Back then it was, thieves don't belong in this family. Now it was, Anya, be reasonable. I didn't respond. I sent the video to the rest of the extended family instead. Every last one of them. The ones who stopped inviting me to birthdays. The ones who said, we love you but your parents need time. The ones who whispered stealing is serious, and thought that counted as being neutral. The replies started almost immediately. I had no idea. This is heartbreaking. I'm so sorry. I feel sick watching this. A cousin I hadn't spoken to in 7 years sent me a voice note, sobbing. I said thank you, then muted the thread. 2 days after that, I got a text from my aunt. She said she was hosting Christmas this year and wanted me to come. Your parents won't be attending. That's when it hit me. The people who had cut me off weren't just apologizing. They were choosing sides. For the first time ever, they were choosing me. The escalation came fast after that. Ines's husband filed for divorce. I didn't even know that until a friend texted me a screenshot from Facebook. He'd changed his status to single and unfollowed her. Guess he didn't like being married to someone who ruins people's lives for sport. From what I heard, Ines tried to explain it away. Claimed it was a high school mistake that got blown out of proportion. Said I was milking it for attention. But the video didn't lie. And neither did the silence that followed. She was uninvited from 3 family events. One of her old friends blocked her on every platform. And her name? It started getting passed around like a warning label. Meanwhile, my parents doubled down. They hired a lawyer and got the charges dropped. They said it was a family misunderstanding. A teenage mix-up. And then, because apparently irony is alive and well, they told me they hoped I could forgive and move forward. I didn't reply. Not right away. Not for weeks. But when I finally did, I kept it short. Funny how you call it a mistake now. When I made the exact same mistake, you called the cops. They never answered that one. For a long time I thought clearing my name would bring everything back. I thought I'd walk into that house and finally hear the words I'd been dying to hear. We're sorry. We were wrong. We believe you. But that's not what happened. They weren't sorry. They were inconvenienced. And now that the truth was out, they didn't want to fix it. They wanted me to bury it. That's when I stopped waiting for closure. Because I finally understood something no one had ever said out loud. They didn't stop loving me because they thought I stole. They used the lie because they'd already decided they didn't want me. And when it turned out I was innocent, they still didn't want me back. Because wanting me would mean admitting they were wrong. And they'd rather lose a daughter than lose control. But that's fine. Because I'm not theirs anymore. No. I live in a quiet flat. It's nothing fancy. But the bed's mine and no one's charging me to sleep next to a dog. I got promoted at work last month. My boss says I'm the glue that keeps the place running. I cried when he said that. Not in front of him, obviously. I waited until I got home. But still, someone saw me. And didn't try to erase me after. Every now and then someone from the extended family messages me. Cousin. An aunt. Even an uncle I thought hated me. They say things like, I'm proud of you. Or, you were right to do what you did. I don't need their validation. But it's nice. Inez. She's still living with mom and dad. Still acting like the victim. Still pretending none of it was her fault. That's fine. Let her live in that house full of secrets and silence. Let her sleep in the room upstairs where I used to dream of being wanted. I'm done dreaming about that. They can keep their family. I finally have peace. Not the fairy tale ending I once imagined, but the truth. And that's better. Because it's real. Was I wrong to send the video? Or did I finally do what they never had the courage to do? Tell the truth? Let me know in the comments.